Welcome to Turkish series Stars, where we dive deep into the stories that matter. Before we step into today's tender reflection, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap that join button to support the channel. Your support keeps this space alive and helps us bring you more stories that speak to the heart. Let's get into it. What does it truly mean when a person becomes your everything? It's a phrase that sounds effortless, but it carries weight. To call someone your everything isn't a casual compliment or a passing sentiment. It's a recognition that they are no longer just another presence in your life, but the steady ground beneath your feet. It isn't glitter or decoration. It's the cornerstone. They don't simply complete a checklist of needs, they rewrite the rhythm of your days. Their voice doesn't just fill silence, it changes the tempo of your breathing. Their belief doesn't hand you shortcuts, it convinces you to climb, and makes the climb feel possible. So when Demet turns to Can, sometimes quietly, sometimes with a fierce, unguarded clarity, and says, "You are my everything," she isn't claiming him, and she isn't confessing that she's nothing without him. She is naming the space he occupies in her reality. She's saying that with him, life is rearranged, brighter at the edges, softer where it used to be sharp, and clearer where it was once foggy. Without him, she would still be herself, still moving, still determined. But with him, the focus tightens, the colors intensify, and even the air seems easier to breathe. That sort of confession doesn't appear out of a single beautiful day or one grand moment. It arrives after time has done its work. Because love isn't born fully formed. It doesn't remain a constant rush, and it's not a spark that burns without pause. Real love is something you shape together. It's sculpted in the quiet hours, the looks that carry more than words, the ordinary tasks done with extraordinary care. It grows when dinners are cooked side by side after long shoot days, when there are drives to the coast with the windows down and no need to fill the quiet, when private jokes stack up until laughter becomes a language. With Kenyaman and Demet Özdemir, if you've watched closely, you can see the beauty of what they share in the pauses and in the gentleness they reserve for each other. Their connection didn't flare up overnight and lock into place. It wasn't born from a single public moment or a headline. It developed in seasons, some loud with attention, some guarded, some full of distance and return. They learned to pick kindness over pride, which is harder than it sounds when the world expects noise. They learned to respect each other's sense of self, even when schedules pulled them in opposite directions. They learned to protect each other's hearts when outside voices tried to make a story out of every glance. They practiced saying "I'm sorry" without keeping a ledger. They practiced telling the truth even when it was uncomfortable, even when silence would have been easier. When Demet tells Can that he is her everything, the shape of their bond shifts. Their victories stop being solitary trophies. A role won, a scene flawlessly captured, a skyline sunset scene after a long day, these are not separate boxes to check, but common ground to stand on. Their dreams don't live as late-night fantasies. They become plans mapped together, promises to show up, to cheer from the wings, to be steady when the floor shakes. The rough patches stop being threats. They become rooms where they stand shoulder to shoulder, proving again that standing together is a choice they keep making. For Can and Demet, this has meant something specific. It has meant knowing when to speak the hard thing and when to simply sit beside each other and let silence carry the care. It has meant giving without setting up a scoreboard, forgiving without turning forgiveness into a favor, and respecting each other fiercely as artists and as people. It has meant refusing to let the outside world define what goes on between them. The speculation, the cameras, the pressure, all of that can grow loud. Their answer is to turn toward each other and decide who they are on their own terms. Being someone's everything doesn't demand that you disappear into them. It asks you to be more yourself, not less. When Can moves through the chaos of attention, he stays grounded, athletic in spirit, focused, the kind of steady that settles a room. He doesn't trade his center for applause. Demet brings a bright discipline, a dancer's balance, a light that doesn't dim to keep others comfortable. She won't shrink to fit a frame that wasn't made for her. Together they aren't mirrors reflecting a distorted ideal. They're mirrors that help reveal the truth in each other, the core that existed before the spotlight and will remain when the lights are off. The best partnerships do this. They turn ambition into collaboration instead of competition. They transform individuality into energy that propels both people forward, not into friction that burns them down. With Demet and Can, you can feel how admiration lives at the center of their story. When she speaks of him, there is a respect for the quiet force he carries, the way his presence steadies the noise and helps her breathe when the world is loud. When he looks at her, there is an unmistakable reverence for her courage, her instinct to soften where softness is needed, and the strength she draws on when life demands it. Admiration like that makes it easier to weather storms, to stay curious, to keep choosing to show up. Their love doesn't just survive, it is tended to. It is kept alive in gestures that don't need an audience. It's in the water bottle he remembers for her on a day full of rehearsals. It's in the way she texts one line before his call time, a sentence that turns into a shield against nerves. It's in the notes left on mirrors, the quick meals thrown together from whatever's on hand after midnight, the reassuring hand on a shoulder before an interview, the promise to be home early when the week has already stolen too many hours. This is a love that proves itself not with spectacle but with constancy. It's equally important to name what their love is not. It is not dependency. It isn't a clamp that keeps either of them from reaching for more. You don't say you are my everything as a vow to vanish inside the other person. Can and Demet have built a partnership that honors independence. They can stand on their own, they choose to walk together, and they keep choosing. It's trust that doesn't need surveillance. It's respect that doesn't demand sameness. It's a commitment that feels free because it is rooted in desire rather than duty. When they stay, it's not because they have to. It's because the door is open, and they both prefer the same side of it. Think of their disagreements, the ones you don't see. Not every tempest reaches the surface, but in the aftermath you can sense their return to gentleness. You can tell they make room for each other to speak without interruption and to listen without planning a rebuttal. They're not trying to win a courtroom case. They're protecting the thing that matters most, the bond itself. Compromise doesn't feel like losing for them, it feels like both of them winning the chance to keep building what they've promised to build together. Life intrudes. Time slips away. Pressures stack like unwashed plates. There are days when criticism mounts, projects overlap, and the weight of expectation turns heavy. This is where you see the real strength of what Can and Demet share. On those days, he becomes her anchor, the gravity that keeps her from drifting into worry, and she becomes his light, the soft glow that turns a dark room into a refuge. They don't perform resilience. They practice it, brick by brick, day after day. You can see it in their calm, the quiet confidence that never needs to announce itself. A love like theirs is built on a trust that survives weather. It says, "We have had hard seasons before, and we'll move through this one too." When Can looks at Demet, there is certainty in his eyes that no headline can shake. When Demet meets his gaze, you can feel the silent promise, she knows him completely, and she stands beside every part of him, the unguarded and the unafraid. That sort of understanding can't be faked for cameras. It shows up on ordinary mornings and in unglamorous hours. This isn't the flashy spectacle you're used to in public feeds. It's not grand gestures for the sake of a photo. It's smaller and somehow bigger. It's the way he notices when her laughter doesn't reach her eyes and asks the question without words. It's how she senses when he's carrying too much and clears space in the day so he can breathe. It's how they turn toward each other when the world pulls at their sleeves, and how they refuse to turn away when it would be easier to look elsewhere. Present. That's the word. They remain present. As we close, think about your own life. Who holds space for you the way you hold space for them? How do you demonstrate that they matter, not with spectacles, but with presence and care? If you believe in this kind of love, the kind we've traced in Can and Demet's journey, remember that it's built on truth, vulnerability, and gratitude for the smallest moments. Keep your attention on what's real. Nurture what is quiet and strong. If this reflection moved you, hit like, tap subscribe, and consider supporting us by clicking join so we can continue bringing you content that feels honest. Until next time, stay present, stay loving, and remember, at Turkish Series Stars, we're here for you.